I took this trip on because I've done a lot of small trips, but this is a really mammoth trip. I mean, 55,000 kilometers is a real challenge, and added to that, Africa's very unpredictable. So I wanted to see how I could cope alone over a long period of time, really. The motorbike I chose was a Yamaha XT660 Z Tenere, which is right behind me, covered in stickers. I chose it because it's very tall, which I am, so you get good visibility. It's pretty light and it's not bound up in lots and lots of computer work, so it seemed ideal for long trips like that, and I know Yamaha. You don't really need a great deal of mechanical knowledge. It's just the basics like changing the tyres, checking the pressure, checking the oil, making sure the coolant level's correct, testing your brakes. It's just every couple of days you make sure you go over certain things. But if you're a new rider, I would definitely say do a course of some sort just to get the basic mechanics underway, because if you're stuck on your own and you can't change a tyre, that's the end of your trip and could be dangerous.
I've had 5 punctures, it's about 40 degrees. I'm in the middle of nowhere. This is the state of my bike.
The reason I slept rough is 2 reasons, I have to be completely honest. One, because I'm not very well off, so camping was going to be perfect. I wanted to live on a budget. But secondly, it was the same reason for going on a bike rather than being in a car. I wanted to camp so I would meet the locals, so I would meet the local flora and fauna. You can wake up, look up in the sky, and it's just stunning. You're not in a guest house. Can you imagine a better scene than this? I've got Mount Meru behind me, I slept under that acacia tree there, and I've got Kilimanjaro over there. I actually didn't have a problem with the language barrier. Obviously in the Arabic countries I don't have a word of Arabic, but you sort of use sign language, you know, I need a drink, have you got some food, have you got somewhere to sleep? Whereas in West Africa, I'm quite lucky I speak French. So that worked out okay, but generally, no, there wasn't a barrier. You can always make yourself understood.
Okay, au revoir.
I wouldn't let language put anybody. In adventure motorcycling, I think there's 2 types of people. There's the one that like to travel in a smallish group and challenge themselves, but they've got the backup of their friends. And then there's more the solo sort of adventurers, and that's the type I am. It's not that I'm unsociable. I just prefer it if there's mistakes or errors or problems I've got to deal with. I prefer to deal with it on my own. There are pros and cons of being in a team and being solo. Sometimes if you're in a team, you're seen as a target because there's a lot of you and there might be a lot of money involved in some of these really poor countries. Whereas if you're on your own, in a way you can blend in, and people take you more at face value. So if you just give them a big smile, show that you're not a threat. I think one of the most important things about adventure motorcycling is your approach to other people. You need to respect their customs, their greetings. You need to stop the bike, turn it off, take your helmet off, shake hands, be as forward and as friendly as you can, and it breaks down the barriers. I've got 4 or 5 challenging highlights, but I'll tell you a couple very quickly. Going through Democratic Republic of Congo, went through a border that no one had been through. Took me 10.5 hours to do 10 kilometers, had to cut my way through.
I've just come off again, went the wrong way, still got 16 kilometers to the border, but I'm on this path, there's holes and you can't see them. It's ridiculous. This is on the Michelin maps. It's not a road at all.
When I got to the border post, the border guard said to me, "No one's been here for 4 years." The second most challenging thing was when I hit a sandstorm in Mauritania. Now, I've never experienced anything like it. You could not see at all. My bike was getting blown all over the road.
This is incredible. I'm running out of water, my clutch has snapped, my heart is racing. If the bike doesn't start, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Also, there's this thing about the contrast in the people you meet. For example, I met some nomads in the Qatari Depression in Egypt, They organised a beautiful meal. We slept the night there under the stars. The next morning they were gone, and they just left a little note in the sand with "thank you" written on it. And it nearly brought tears to my eyes. And that was one small thing. And then you go to Nigeria, where it's chaos, millions of people. Superstar DJ, TV producer Charlie Boy picked up on me, and I ended up in a 5-star hotel. And it was a shock after 267 nights of camping. But it's that sort of contrast and the different people that you meet that you can never predict.
The Lakota boys, let's hear it now!
The incredible thing about Africa is the diversity of the beauty and how quickly it changes. I mean, you've got the deserts, you've got the Namib Sahara, you've got Mauritanian desert, then you've got the grasslands, then you've got the tropical jungles, and then you've got the savannas of Kenya with the Ngorongoro crater, and it's a constant change. But every one of them are beautiful in their own way. In adventure motorcycling, I think the mistake a lot of people make is that there's going to be no fuel and no water in these remote areas. Believe me, you do find these things. The world isn't as massive as you really think it is. You will muddle through. I mean, I broke down for 2 days with no petrol. I'm still here. It was part of the experience. I think a mistake people make with adventure riding is, let's get going, let's cover the distance. Whereas waiting is part of the whole trip. Doing a trip like this, you expose yourself to the cultures, the people, the environment. Everything is completely different to your normal day-to-day routine. And I think it will stay with me and people who do trips like this for the rest of my life. It changes you without you even realizing it.